If New England became a country, the states that would be in New England would be Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Vermont, and New Hampshire. New England, the population would be 14,970,000, which would be similar to Zimbabwe. The GDP of New England would equal $1.1 trillion, which is similar to Indonesia. The GDP per capita would be around $57,000, which is similar to the GDP per capita of Denmark. So the GDP of New England is pretty big, which is like 1.1 trillion. It basically makes it an economic superpower. And so like yeah, the biggest cities in New England would be Boston, Massachusetts, Worcester, Massachusetts, Providence, Rhode Island, Springfield, Massachusetts, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Boston would be the biggest city in New England, probably be the capital of New England too. The population of the city in 2010 was 655,000. And then Worcester, Massachusetts would be the second biggest city. It has a population around 184,000 in 2010. And even though it's the second biggest, the like population difference is a lot, like it's pretty big and not like small. Providence, Rhode Island would be the third biggest city in New England. The population would be 179,000 from 2010. But when you compare it to the second biggest city, the population difference is really small. And Springfield, Massachusetts would be the fourth biggest city in New England. And the population of the city would be 153,000. And the fifth biggest city in New England would be Bridgeport, Connecticut, which would have a population of 147,000. So the GDP of each state, like yeah, I just made a pie chart to divide it up, and like Massachusetts makes up more than 50% of the GDP of New England, and then Connecticut with 25%. So yeah, and in Vermont only basically doing about 3.1%. The population of each state, Massachusetts, it basically equals around 46%, and in Vermont, which is the smallest state, population would only equal around 4.2%. The GDP per capita of each state for is like 75,000 to 43,000. Maine being the lowest one, and Massachusetts being the biggest one. And basically, Massachusetts is basically the major state, or yeah, basically the state of New England. It basically is the biggest power when it comes to economy and population compared to the other states in New England. The only ones that usually really like, I guess, have like a chance, I guess, would just be like Connecticut and like Rhode Island. So like yeah.